Yeah, welcome back to Career Build Series, episode number 43. And so in this episode, what I'm doing here is I'm starting getting ready to make a road train. And so using some of the trailers I have, this is going to be the testing portion of that. Currently trying to get this road train set up. And so in game, it really does not like having to, for example, if you're trying to launch a dolly, so let me paste this and I can show you what the dolly is. So the dolly is this portion here. The dolly is this unit of axles with a fifth wheel that connects two trailers together. And so I have a lot of experience with this. And so in real life, what you would do is you would hook the dolly to the back of the tractor, you'd push it up right in front of this trailer. Then you go get your lead trailer and you'd go come up, hook up the dolly, and then push it into the kite, which is your back trailer, and they're connected. The issue with this in game is if the dolly and the trailer are not one unit together, it really doesn't want to behave right. It has to do with it being multiple physics bodies and having them not permanently attached. And so it causes all sorts of problems. And so what I did here is I'm testing this with this being solid. So if we go into merge view, as you can see, this here is merged to a pivot here, right there. And this pivot is set to, if we grab the arrow, 0% power. And so that's going to make a one unit. That's really the only way I can get these dollies to behave themselves, or these trailers to behave themselves with dollies. I tried, I tried a set of doubles with, setup where you have three units. You have your lead, your kite, and your dolly. And the game just does not like it at all. So we're going to try like this. And so a big part of all this is just trying to get a big, kind of almost like Australian style road train going. Now this is kind of an American style of having that kind of dolly. And so I want to kind of keep it that way. It has a fifth wheel. I want it to look there. You see it's jittering. It's not having a good time. Might try to do like the Aussie version with the fifth wheel hanging off. It's not just Australia, but there are I forget what it's called. I'll have to look it up. But it's a setup where you actually have the fifth wheel hanging off the back of the trailer. And so that's another option. Ooh, did I not put a... I didn't do a light cord. Okay, I have to do this here. So I need to do, let's do a cable. Need to stick a cable here just to be able to connect these. And so I can go through a couple different options on this. Like, so for example, the other one, I'll have to look up what it's called again. But, you would have this whole axle segment sticking out the back and have a fifth wheel on there. And that would hang off. That's an option as well. But we have to kind of make it work in game. And so certain things that are possible IRL are just not going to be possible in game, or not behave well in game, or be too iffy. So this is the new 18-speed Mac Pinnacle. Really liking the 18-speed transmission that came out. That's about a 2-hour video on that. Probably just confused everybody with that video, trying to get the gear ratios settled out. Once you've done it a couple times, it makes sense. I find a lot of people have issues with making transmissions, and especially making like trucks, because they don't understand that the correlation between your actual operating RPM in a truck is very small. So for example, in the Mac Pinnacle, the operating range, let me just listen for reverse. The operating range that you generally run your engine at is between 1100 RPM and 1400. So that's 300 RPM. If you go below 1100, you'll lug, and you just, you'll you won't stall the engine yet, but you're getting there. And you can go up to like 2000, but you generally don't want to rev out like that. There we go, we're connected now. You generally don't want to rev it out like that. And even the manual will tell you your operating range is 1100 to 1400. And so they have a very small operation range compared to, say a car, where a car may have a 5,000 RPM range on it that you're actually running at. Let's see what we're doing here. What gear am I in? Two. Alright, so I need to make sure the brakes on the kite are coming off. They may not be coming off. Let me go check it. So this could be a communication issue. So this anchor is supposed to be sending through the light cord here. I need to make sure all my tires are coming off. Brakes are true, so having a communication issue through there. Nope, flicking my camera out again. Awesome. Let's see. So we need to communicate through. So where are we at here? So let's do composite. This is going... Okay, so that's going to the light cord, so that should be right there to light cord. And then that's the light cord on here. That should work. I don't know why it isn't. So there's something on there that's not working right. So the composite signal should be coming from the cable on the tractor, which is here. Hooks to this trailer. Should come all the way back to here. And it should go through here. So that's where we plug in that light cord. Then it should go to this light cord here, which should then go to both the control box and the rear pintle, or rear light cord. So let's see what's up here. So this is part of my T-TIS system here. So there's light cord or kingpin. So I'm running off light cord here. Let's see. So it's coming out. It should be reading all of that correctly. It's the same T-TIS system, same trailer. I don't know why this isn't running correctly. So it just should be passing right through. All right, let's do this. So I'm going to go logic, rope logic. I'm going to grab the light cord here and hook it to there. And so that should work. Let's go ahead and spawn it. All right, and so let's check it here. We need to check the systems here. All right, so brakes are true. They should be true until I shut them off. There's we're supplying the trailer brakes with air. So brakes, why are the brakes true? That's interesting. Oh, I haven't hooked the light cord up. That would be why. There we go. Should be false now. All right, brakes are, I think I saw them say false. There we go. Brakes false, brakes false. Brakes false. Okay, good. Now, hopefully these are all false. True, true, true. So there's something up with this. There's a break in the signal somewhere. So it should be going through. It should be the same signal. So from here, from this light cord should go all the way back to here. And go to this. It's called the light cord is what that cable's called. That's why I'm calling it light cord. And it should be going through this light cord, and so it's not. So I need to see what's up with this here, why it's not behaving. All right, so I need to trace this through and see what the heck is going on. So the composite signal should be able to come through here, and it should read all the way back to this cable anchor here, and then that should pass it through to here, and that all should work. And I don't know why it's not right now. So let's look. So we want composite data. So this here, let's see, we're going to plug into here, and then we're going to send the output. The output's going to go to the T-TIS panel, which is right here. Now, if this wasn't working, I couldn't take the brakes off this trailer, so that is working. Now, this is going to pass it through, so it's taking the same signal that I send through, and it's going back here to this cable anchor, which should then send it through to this cable anchor. And I do not know why this is not... I've done this 100 times too, and I don't know why it's misbehaving right now. All right, so that is connected fine. Because they're the same trailer, I just converted it, so I don't know what the hell the story is here. That's fuel... Oh, you know what it is? Is that the wrong panel? Nope, T-TIS is back here. Okay, I was going to say... Ugh. All right, so there's the T-TIS panel. That is... Okay, let's make sure the brakes are connected. variable brakes. Where parking brake? There are park brakes right there. And I also hooked up the dolly. Hooked up the variable brakes there. Okay, you know what it is? It's right here. That's what it is. Okay, so what I do on this is, so in real life, when you disconnect from a trailer, the brakes use air to release the brakes. And so when a trailer is just sitting in a parking lot or whatever, the brakes are on. And if the brakes weren't on, it would roll downhill. You know, the friction from the landing gear is not enough to stop it. It would collapse the landing gear and it would go rolling. You know, you need the brakes on. So what I have here is the kingpin is this here, is this pin. And so what I have here is the pin here is when the trailer connects, the trailer needs to be connected in order to remove the brakes. And so that is set up that way. So what I should do here is, so when this is connected, that should go to the kingpin. Okay, so this should work now. Let's go ahead and remove, I'll have to go back and fix this in the other one, but let's go to, and we'll release this, and this should work now. So that's what it was. Okay. So it was so in the event that I accidentally disconnected the trailers. Now in real life, you know, you could disconnect the trailer and the trailer would still roll even though it's not on your back. But in game, I didn't want that because then you'd have to go get a crane and get it lifted up, and so putting the brakes on is helpful. All right, good. So that I think solved that issue. Let's well, we won't bother testing it. It should work now. I'm pretty confident that's what it was. Alright, so we're gonna go hook up. I keep meaning to make this is my test world. I keep meaning to make it so that all this stuff is selected when I save it, so I don't have to do it, but. Alright, so I really like the new 18-speed transmission. It has 4 reverse gears. It has 2 low gears, low, low, and low, and it has 16 gears beyond that. I put on a limiter too, so that it can only go 75 miles an hour. Because in real life, you'd have a governor on there. All right, we're in reverse. So I'm in a higher reverse. I must be in reverse too. So there's 4 reverses. That's why I jumped. I was in too high of a reverse. Oh, brakes. You know, it's one of the things that people don't understand who don't have any truck experience, which makes sense. Is you're using your gears to limit your speed as well. And so, for example, if you were going down a hill, just put it in reverse. I just want to listen. If you're going down a hill, if you set it to that gear, the engine works as a big brake essentially, and you are limiting the speed you can go in that gear. So I know if I'm in reverse 1, I can only go a certain speed. My engine will top out at RPM, and I'll never be able to go faster. I had it the first time and gave myself a false sense of security here, trying to get these lined up. Let me do it this way. I line it up better looking straight down the trailer. The longer a trailer is, actually the easier it is to back up. All right, there we go. There we go. Okay, see, use some actual knowledge here. Alright, so we're in like reverse 3. Alright, so these are connected now. And so I want to be building some road trains. So those get connected. I could do it through the kingpin. People are probably saying, why don't you do it through the kingpin? Because that's not realistic, and I'm making it realistic. I have had that question before. Alright, let's check the brakes are going to be on because I set the brakes. Let's shut the trailer brakes off and just let the tractor hold us. Alright, trailer brakes are now off. These definitely should be off. We just moved this. Brakes false. Brakes false. Okay, yep, that was definitely it. So when the pintle is now connected, that will act that way. So, there's no liquid in this. I'm not spawning this full, as you can see. So this is going to be a lot lighter than it really would be. This one still needs to be upgraded. I made some changes to increase the flow rates. I had realistic baffles, but I was not getting realistic flow rates. So, all right, so let's go for a little drive. We don't have any weight in here, but the main thing I'm testing right now is this going to behave itself as far as, you know, the trailers? Are the trailers going to kiss, which means touch each other? Are they going to articulate properly? Are they going to behave? Are they going to explode when they go up over hills? Is the dolly going to rotate properly? Are we going to off track? So if you set a dolly up correctly, when you turn the lead, I should be able to turn this lead unless you're really cranking it hard. I should be able to turn this lead trailer, which is the front, and the kite, which is the back trailer, should follow the same footprint. So it should be pretty close to the same. Now that was too wide of a turn to make that actually work properly. Let's get moving here and I can test it out. But you want to make sure it's following the same footprint, and that way you can actually turn tighter. You can turn almost just as tight with a set of doubles like this as you can with a single trailer. So let's grab a quick screenshot. But I can say this is going to be a long Johnny here, and this will expedite the speed at which we can do some of this moving of our oil here. And there we are, 11th gear, 12th. And so, you know, I started talking about this a little bit, but again, why gears are so important in trucks, and, you know, having these, you know, there's an 18-speed gearbox. Why do you need all those gears, people might ask? Well, one of it is speed control. So right now, our TAC is at 1400. That's max. We can't go faster than 35. I've got a gun. I don't have an artificial limiter on there. It's the gears. You know, the gear is limiting how fast I can go. So I know if I want to go 35, I don't need to do a, I don't really need to do a, have a cruise control. All I need to do is, okay, if I want to go 35 or 36 or around there, I go in 12th gear at max at 1400, and I know. So, and I, you know, I could do this by ear. I could tell if I was at 1400 by ear. And so I know if I'm in, you know, I don't run an 18 speed, but, you know, I know if you're at 1400 in 10th gear, you're going 65. And so you can do it all by sound, and that's why you want this in a truck. So let's go up to 13th gear. All right, this is going to be a test here. It should all behave. Yep, it's all behaving itself well. I had this picture from the last episode, so let's get it right here for this one. But, you know, so we have our set of doubles here, and, you know, this is going to really, this is a lot. This is a lot. This is like, I think these are running at like 54,000 liters a piece, so we're talking 108,000 liters. So that barge we have is 114,000 liters, so this will pretty much fill it. So here we are up at 14th. There's 15, 16. Now, I don't want to upshift until I get up to to about 1400. I want to wring out my gears. This is not a car. You know, in a car or even like my motorcycle, I can go in 3rd gear and just like, I can start in 3rd gear. Truck is not like that. And I talked about this a little bit last video, is in a car, let's say the car weighs 4,000 pounds. Let's say you put some large adults. Let's say you put 4 300-pound adults in there with bags, right? So let's say it's 1,500 pounds of meat and luggage. Well, guess what? That's still less than half of the mass of the car. Let's say you get, you know, you put a lot of luggage in there. Now, you've put in half of the mass of the car in weight. Well, now talk about the Mack Pinnacle. It weighs around 20,000 pounds. The trailer is probably going to weigh 80,000 pounds. And so the what you're hauling with it is 4 times the mass of the vehicle, where a car might be hauling at most 50% of the mass of the vehicle. That's why a truck needs all these gears. That's why a truck behaves differently. And that's kind of why, you know, when I build a truck, I build it like a truck. I don't build it like, you know, a car. Like I see a lot of the cars in the a lot of the trucks in the workshop behave just like cars, and that's fine if people like that. But for me, I want this truck to behave like the truck, like a truck. Alright, so this is behaving. Nice little jaunt here out. I do have vehicle damage on. We never get up to 18th gear. I'd like to try to get up to 18 with this. Again, we're not hauling. And so why do you need so many gears? Well, if I talked about before, my operational range is between 1100 RPM and 1400. Look how long it takes me to get up there. That's because I'm hauling a lot of weight. It takes time. Now, the more gears you have, the easier it is to stay in the operational range. The operational range on that truck is only 300 RPM. So you need more gears. You need very small incremental gear changes. In a car, you don't need small incremental gear changes. You can make large incremental gear changes because it's not doing that much work. Like I said, the most you might ever put in your car is probably 50% of the mass of the car. In the truck, I'm hauling 4 times the mass of the truck. You know, so a car might haul, 0.5% of its mass, right? What would it be, 0.5% of its mass? Yeah, say 0.5% of its mass, and the truck might hold 4 times its mass, and so, you really need all those gears to be able to do things like, for example, if I'm going up a hill, I might need to drop 3 gears just to maintain speed. And there's often times where you can't maintain speed. I used to go up the hills in Connecticut all the time with a heavy trailer, and you'd be going 65 at the base of the hill, and you'd be going 40 at the top of the hill, or as you're climbing the hill, because you can't maintain speed. So I'd have to drop 2 gears to lose 20 miles an hour. A car is not like that. The car maintains the speed because you're not hauling all that much mass. All right, so let's go 15. So see, I waited till I got up around 1400. I'm wringing out my gears because that's gonna. So 1400, in the real Mac Pinnacle, that's about where your peak torque is. And so you want to get to peak torque. That's where it's the most work it can do. The other thing is, when you shift gears, it's going to naturally drop down to a lower RPS, and so you drop down to 1100. And so you need to build back up to peak torque before you shift again. So here we go, we'll shift to 16. So you see how it drops? That's natural, that's how it's supposed to do. Now we're going to wring out the gear again, we're going to let it build back up. And so you notice, we'll probably never get up to our max speed. Why? Because look at all this mass. That's a lot of mass, even though it doesn't have any actual liquid in it. So let's put some liquid in this. I need to work on this back trailer here anyway, but let's fill these trailers up with some liquid. And so this one, I need to work on this one a little bit, but what I'll do for now is just this. So I put baffles in. They're not really working well, so it makes it take forever to fill and unload it. So let's grab a spawner here. I'm just going to put fresh water in there. All right. So these now have, let me check I have them in gallons, I think. There's no way that's gallons. That sounds too much. There's no way that's gallons. Let me see. Okay, yeah, I didn't convert it, so I need to convert it here. If I just do that, that'll work. When I had the tank segmented, I was having the tanks add together. So, okay, so that's 14,000 gallons. And so it's about 54,000 liters of water in there. And so that's a lot. Like I was saying, 2 of these trailers is going to fill our barge. And so that's why I want to do this. I want to make this to reduce the trip count. Also, one of the nice things, I do like AFK, the ability to go AFK in these types of games. And the reason is, for example, if you have a bunch of chores and stuff to do, or, you can't sit and play the game all day, but you might have, 20, 30 minutes to go set up. I can drive this out to the oil rig. I can hook it up to the oil, and I can just have it pump while I'm doing something else. Like I want to do a little bit of cleaning around the house. Well, guess what? I can go hook all this up, leave it, let it do that, and then I'm good to go. And so that's why I tend to like this type of gameplay. All right, so I want to go in reverse one again. The reason why you have all these gears in a truck, why do we have 4 reverse gears in this truck? Because I can put it in reverse one. I have it floored right now. See how nice and slow we're going? I notice a lot of the trucks in the workshop with like 4 gears, and people say, oh, that's enough, that's enough. It might be, that's fine. But one of the benefits of having this is I know if I'm in reverse one and I floor it, I go as fast as I can, I'll go nice and slow and see how easy it was to connect the trailers. If you're going too fast, it's going to make it a nightmare to hook your trailers up. All right, so we are hooked up. Let's go ahead. Oh, did I fix that thing? It should be fixed. Okay. So these are full of water now. Let's go in and we'll check. But as you can see, full of water. Lots of water. So that's about 30,000 gallons of water. So it's 8 pounds per gallon. Let me really quickly do the math. So we're talking 30,000 gallons times 8 equals, that's 240,000 pounds. So we're talking the whole rig weighs over 250,000 pounds. This is why we have an 18-speed gearbox. If you had it hooked up to a regular car gearbox, guess what's happened? You're either going to stall or you're going to spin your tires. Now with a truck, because I have 18 gears, each gear makes a small change in torque. If I had say 4 gears, the change between gear 1 and gear 2 would cause me to stall. I would not have enough torque to be able to go through them. And so now you see how we're only going 7 miles an hour. Watch what gear 3 gives us. Gear 3 might give us 7.5 miles an hour. This is why you need this in a truck is, you notice I just picked up 1 mile an hour going to 4th. That's probably, there's a couple, right? A couple miles an hour. This is why you need this in a truck is because the speed, you know, you need to be able to maintain enough torque to pull this much weight. And so you need small incremental torque changes, which is what you're doing essentially. Every time you try to get more RPS out of the engine, what you're doing is you're giving up torque. And so every gear you go up, you're losing torque and trading it for RPS. So the more gears you have, you can keep this heavy load moving. And so I want to wring its neck. I want this to go back up to around 1400 before I shift. I don't want to shift early. So for example, like this tractor, I can run this tractor with a bobtail. What bobtail is it means you're running it without trailers. And I can skip gears, I can go quickly through the gears, but when I have weight on me, I can't. I need to use all my gears. And that's how it is in real life. And so again, when people build their trucks in game like a car, they're limiting their ability for it to do what a truck is supposed to do. A truck's job is to haul weight and to haul a load. And so see how it drops my tack down? So I'm watching my tack the whole time. Now in real life, I do this by ear. I can hear it. And that tells me when to shift. So here we go. So that is a bigger gear change to 16. That's why I get a squeal in tires. The higher you go in the box, the bigger the space between your gears. You're getting what's known as longer gears. You stay in your gears longer, and so that's why we get a squeal in game. Is it doesn't like these longer gears. You know, you saw how I think it was from 3 to 4. I didn't even go up 1 mile an hour. I went up half a mile an hour. That's how it is in real life. I'm moving. Remember, I'm moving almost 250,000 pounds, right? I can't make a huge change. I still need a lot of torque to be able to move that. Notice I haven't upshifted to 17 yet, and the reason is, look at how slow my tack is increasing. We're still speeding up. My tack is still increasing, but it's taking some time, and so I need to take some time to be able to before I make my next gear change. So let's do it. We'll see right now, I wouldn't even upshift right now. 1200 is pretty low for me. I'd stay there. So I'm capped out at 62. Is that a big deal? No. In real life, if you're hauling heavy trailers, you're not going max speed. There's no way. In a car, you're pretty much always going max speed, or you can go max speed. In a truck, no. You're going up a hill, you have a heavy load, you might never reach your max speed. All right, and then we want to downshift on the way down. Remember, each gear has a maximum speed, essentially. So when I downshift, watch my speed. All right, so this is working beautifully. That's 250,000 pounds of water we're hauling there. And so that is really nice. That's doing a lot of good work for me. So this will make it so that I can haul a single load pretty quickly. So let's go ahead and I'm going to take this back to the workbench. All right, my unit here is, we're not going to work with this anymore. What I need to do is bring up the constituent trailers. So right here, I need to finish this trailer so that's all ready. So I had these fluid ports in, and that was simulating how real baffle works. A real baffle, when the liquid hits it, it will go through some holes. This is hurting me with flow rates when I'm trying to load or unload this, because these are capped at, like, I think that was like, without them being pushed, with it just like gravity feeding, I was getting like 6 liters per second, so it was taking forever for this to be able to load. All right, so that is set now. That's what I want. Let's go ahead. We need to hook this pintle up to this node here, or else we're never going to be able to release our brakes. I think this is set. Let me just double check electricity. Okay, so this is a problem here. So this needs to go to there. And then I'm trying to think how to hook this electricity up. Okay, that's fine. All right, so I'm gonna do electric node on here, and then let's do a cable. So I stick a cable anchor or a cable right. Let's stick it right there. All right, and then so this will just feed the electricity for those tail lights. And then this here is this needs to connect to everything else, so. All right, so that is all connected. And then, so theoretically, this is set up so I could put a third trailer on here. So that should be connected for a third trailer. All right, this one, I screwed up something on this panel I noticed before, so this is going to be in, and this is out. Those are just backwards. Control B, there we go. All right, so this one should be set to go. And then I want to load up this one, and I want to double check, make sure. I think I fixed this one. This should be all set. And then we should be able to check it from here, make sure in, out. Yep, so this one should be all set to go. Okay, I need to fix one more thing in the other one. So let's see. I think it should be all set. I don't think I actually need to change anything there. Meter, I need a meter. And then I just want to disconnect these. I had them all as individual tanks and adding them together. I'm not doing that anymore, so I just need to disconnect those and that will work. All right, good. So let's go ahead and save this. All right, so I will launch up the other world, and we'll actually go and we'll, I think we'll start actually fractioning off some diesel and some jet fuel. All right, so we're back in the actual career world here. So last episode we actually went and did some oil trading. I went and brought the oil from here up to the refinery island here, and let's look at the price. So when I initially started selling, it was around, I think, $5.73, if memory serves. And it was down to 155. And the reason was we gave them a good, a large quantity of oil. So as we were giving them the oil, the price was dropping. And that's essentially what the surge price is doing now in game, is it will drop like that. And so We need to keep that in mind when we're going to sell large quantities. We may want to stop pumping and wait for the prices to recover. And this makes sense. Right now, right now, a bunch of oil-producing states have declared they're cutting production, and the whole reason they're cutting production is so that they're not selling their product at less money than what's a profit. And so it's going to cause the gas price to go up because they're going to reduce how much supply they have. Supply goes down, demand stays constant, prices go up. And so we have the same thing in game now. So, we may want to pause that. But, the thought at first was that we're going to get like $240,000. And because the prices dropped so precipitously, we ended up pumping our last liters of oil at $1.55. And so that really sunk. And so what we're probably going to do now is we're going to go over to the refinery and we're going to start to fraction. Now, I have the creative menu on. Again, I like that because I can teleport. And so I like adding this on. It's important to me in game, and especially for making videos like, instead of me like maybe, actually having to fly here and there, just get a video set up, I can just teleport and it makes it a lot quicker and easier. It's also good for you guys. If you don't want to head all the way back, you can use some of these things. So we currently have 16,750 liters of oil. This is full, so we can't fill it anymore with oil. So we need to fraction it off and get that going. And so currently our oil fraction tower has nothing in it. So let's start toggling some in there. There we go. Oil's going in. Now, some people, ask why I was doing an engine to run my drill table. Why do I have electrical production if I don't need it? Because the static bases produce all their electricities. RP, man. I like to RP. I don't like any notion of there being infinite electricity. I like to at least set up and engineer a solution to the problem. And then, we have infinite electricity, but I am doing all the things that would be required to make the electricity. So that's why I do it, is just for my own entertainment. So some people were wondering. All right, so let's go ahead and let's light this furnace. And so we want to turn on the fuel valve, make sure the air valve is on, light the furnace. All right, that's starting. We're going to put our circulation on. That should start heating up. All right, so we're going to start fractioning off oil here. And we can only go so far from a place before it will stop, before it will essentially stop going. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go AFK, and I'll get back with you guys once we've fractioned out some of this oil, we've fractioned out some jet fuel and some diesel. And so we're going to wait for this to heat up, and once that gets over 300°C, I'm going to turn on the pump. We'll fill our diesel tank, we'll fill our jet fuel tank. Let me actually fly in there and we'll see. I was wondering about what the capacity is. I forget what the capacities are. So that's 4,300 liters of jet fuel and diesel. And so what we're going to do is we're going to bring that train with us. We're going to bring our road train. I'm trying to decide. I think what we'll do here, let's look at the map. And let's look at the prices. So we have some choices on where we can go to sell. Now, this is not an ideal situation. This has a cliff. We would need a very long hose to be able to sell jet fuel here. It's $8.22. So that's a possibility. It's not great. Diesel is convenient. Diesel is right here, $1.17. As you can see, we're still getting $1.55 for oil. So it's probably not a great idea to sell the diesel there. What's this? This here, diesel is $1.31. And then up here is our most likely candidate. We have jet fuel for $9.86. Now, some other things we could potentially do. I'm not building a new train. I'm really not in a train mood. But one thing we could do is put a bunch of this oil on a train. We'd still need the truck to move it back and forth to the train. But what we can do is I just want to see. I often go through here and try to figure out what I want to do with this. So that's coal. That is diesel. What are you? That is diesel, $2.37 there. That's coal, that Komodo. That is a diesel cell for $3.49. So theoretically, we could put it on a train. We'd need a long hose to be able to reach from here to there. All right, so I'm thinking probably one of our most profitable is, just look at the price here, is $9.86 for jet fuel. It's a hike, but I can do a lot of this off screen. You know, the actual travel, and we do time lapse. Diesel and oil sale points are very convenient. They're short distance. So one of the things, if you notice, we only have $193,000. Now I took a $100,000 loan from the bank, and I'm paying a 15% interest rate per day. We've already had one day go by. So what I'm going to do is, I need all this money. Do I need all this money? I do. I need all this money to really launch the vehicles. I'm trying to think if I actually do. I probably do. It's going to be easier for me to... I have to see what the truck costs. So I'm not going to pay back the loan yet. I was going to pay back the loan, but I'm not ready to do that yet. I want to hold on to some of this. And so let's quickly look at FJ Warner. This is going to be one of our main bases now. If we look, we have 0 liters of diesel. All right. So we need some diesel in here. So what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to fraction off diesel. We're going to launch the truck. The truck's going to come up. It's going to grab a bunch of diesel. It's then going to head over here to the FJ Warner dock. It's going to put some quantity of diesel in here, say, I don't know, 20,000 liters of diesel. Then it's going to pump the rest of the diesel on... actually, you know what? Let's do this. We're starting to get towards the end of the episode. Let's do this. Let's fraction off diesel. And let's bring it over here, and let's dump diesel into the dock. Now, last time we couldn't do this because, unfortunately, you cannot store oil in the dock. I think I'm going to put in as a feature request asking the devs, hey, we can store coal in the dock, we can store uranium in the dock, diesel, jet fuel. Please put it so that we can store oil in the dock. That way, what I could do is I could truck it, let's say in one play session, I want to go, okay, we're going to make some diesel, or we're going to get some oil, and I want to transport the oil over here, and then I want to just dump it in the bench, and then later I want to launch the barge, and then I can fill it up and take it out. And so this is like a big storage depot, essentially. So that's kind of what I would want. So I'll put in a feature request for that, and I'll, if I do it, I'll link it in the description, and you guys can just star it. And that way, if they add oil there, we could store oil in here as well. And so that would be helpful. So what I can do is, and I think this is what I'm going to do, is I'm going to fraction off diesel. And because we have no diesel there, so we can't fuel anything. And so I'm going to take my truck up here. I'm going to grab the diesel off of it, and I'm going to put it in this bench. And that will get us set up so that we have all the diesel is in here. So we'll have like... 100,000 liters of diesel in here. And then when we're ready, we can just pull it off. So let's go ahead and look at our temp. Temp's still coming up, so that's still heating. I think we should be able to leave and not really have an issue. So again, I am teleporting. Again, at the end of the day, the point of the game is to have fun. And for a lot of people, it might seem tedious and monotonous to, actually have to travel around. So if you don't want to, don't. You don't have to travel if you don't want to. You don't have to like get in a Jeep and move your way across. You can do what I'm doing. You can teleport, you can RP it as, hey, somebody gave me a ride over there, and I didn't have to do the tedious thing of going. It would add, it can take away from your game session if if it's not something you want to do. If you don't want to travel all over the place, all it's doing is bugging you and making your game session less enjoyable. Don't do it. Do what I'm doing here. Put in the custom menu. I have a tutorial on that. And you can teleport if you want. There's many times where, for example, I've talked about how one of the reasons I enable that, especially if I'm making these career build series videos, is that the, okay, so see, it's saying it doesn't have, ooh, do I have no diesel? I have no diesel. All right, that's fine. That was an error with the way I came back. Was I actually... Speaking of teleporting, I teleported back the barge and the tugboat, and I did that just to save time because it would take me a lot of time and you guys wouldn't see it anyway. And so what I'm going to do here is, again, use my custom menu, infinite fuels coming on, and I don't have to worry about it. And so that cuts out my frustration, because right there my game session would be over. I'd be like, oh crap, I don't have any diesel, I have to go find a way to get diesel, I don't have anything to move diesel, what am I gonna do? Now, with that one button click, I just got rid of all the possible frustration I would have had with the game, and we're back to playing and not being frustrated. So I highly recommend, putting that custom menu on your career game so that you can, if there's going to be an issue, you can do it. Like, for example, I talk about how whenever I go up and I load or unload something at the refinery island, or, hook up to a dock, let's put it that way, I shut off vehicle damage. And the reason I shut off vehicle damage is, in real life, you would have fenders, you would have ropes, you would have people who are professionals who know how to tie off a vehicle, or a ship or a barge, and you wouldn't damage your ship by being hooked up to a dock. Well, in game, you can very easily damage your ship to a state where it's destroyed, just hooking up to a dock. So what do? I shut off vehicle damage, because in real life it wouldn't be damaged like that. And so that really cuts down frustration, is making, you can make it so that it's more realistic and less frustrating sometimes by doing things like being able to shut off damage when damage really wouldn't occur. Alright, so we are all set here. Let's go ahead and we'll take this train down to the oil rig. Let me check something really super duper quick. I want to make sure I pulled out. I'm pretty sure I did. Alright, I just want to make sure I pulled out those spawners. Last thing I'd want is to have this. Last thing I would want is to have this spawn full of water. Alright, so here we go. Let's head down to the... Gonna head over to the, I was gonna call it refinery. It is fractioning its own oil. But we'll head down to the oil rig. So notice now that we're able to accelerate faster. We don't have all that water on us, and it makes perfect sense. I'm able to wring these gears out. And that's because, we're not hauling that 250,000 pounds of water anymore. Alright, so we'll get over there. Hopefully, generally what happens is if you're not within a certain distance of that, for example, the rig in this case, one of the stationary bases, it will go into like a resource saving mode. And so, for example, if you're too far away from the refinery island while you're trying to pump out oil, it will stop pumping. And that's because the game is culling resources, and it's it's essentially not using the resources on essentially trying to figure out how to pump and make your vehicles work when you're a certain distance away from them. So there is a good chance that hasn't been heating up the whole time we've been way over here, but as we get closer, that should hopefully start heating up again. And once we hit 300 degrees, if you see the tanks I put on there, I didn't put huge storage tanks, and part of that was on purpose. Was I don't want to just leave that running and have an enormous amount of liquid just sitting there. For example, you saw my oil tank only holds 16,000 liters of oil. My diesel and jet fuel only hold 4,000. And so what this allows me to do is, or what this forces me to do, and I'm a big proponent on forcing your own restrictions. It's like one of the things is, I use third person a lot, mostly for making videos. But as you can see, I prefer to drive in first person. And so, a lot of people may never operate their vehicle in first person. Well, the game, if it forces you to use first person, you start to get better at operating the equipment. And so this forces me to bring my truck over as on-site storage. And so you'll actually see that a lot with oil rigs. Is an oil platform out in the ocean might not have all that much storage. And so you'll actually see they'll put an oil tanker up, hook it up to the platform and start pumping it off, because they don't have that much on-site storage for a number of reasons. The oil is less dense than water, but if it's high up on the tower, that decreases the stability, increases the center of gravity. It's better just to pump it up and put it on a ship. And the same thing is here. This is like our little land ship here, is where we're gonna go park this next to the rig, and hopefully I can find the rig because we're currently, it's foggy as hell, and so we're gonna park this next to it. And what we're gonna actually do is we'll pump the, in this case we're gonna do diesel. We're gonna pump diesel right in these tanks. I might, you know what I actually might do? I might do diesel in the front tank and jet fuel in the back, because these can be stored in the base in the FJ Warner docks and the docks themselves. And so if I do that, that's going to, I think that's what I'll do, is I'll split it diesel and jet fuel. We're probably not going to get into jet fuel vehicles very soon. I tend to, like, did I even use it? I don't think I made a single jet fuel powered vehicle in the last career build series. I tend to go diesel, and the reason is just the efficiencies of it. I did use the Rotodyne some, and the Rotodyne is diesel. I'll grab a new screenshot here of this. So the rig itself looks pretty big until you put the Pinnacle with a good 100 feet of tankers next to it. All right, so let's I want to get reasonably close here, so I need a downshift. In a car, again, you can take some liberties with a car, and you can actually be in the wrong gear. Generally, a truck, if you're in the wrong gear, you're not going to be able to go. You need to kind of get in the right gear. All right, so notice where I'm turning, my turning spots. I'm going to need to back out of this. I can't go forward anymore. That's fine. And so let's set the brakes. I'm going to leave the engine on the tractor. I tend to do that just because the diesel, actually we have infinite fuel on. Let's go ahead and shut that off. All right, let's shut infinite fuel off. So we're here. This will die. That's fine. Let me shut it off, actually. It'll make that starter noise if I don't shut it off. Okay, so this shut off. I just do that sometimes for electricity in case we didn't make enough electricity. All right, so we're parked up here, and so I'm going to grab... And that's the diesel furnace. You can hear screaming. All right, so let's check the temp. 195. So what I'll do is I'll check back with you guys when this gets up to 300, and that will allow us to start fractioning. And so I will be pumping the diesel into this tank, the jet fuel into this tank. These are correctly colored. Diesel is supposed to be yellow. You put diesel in a yellow container. Now, they don't generally do this with storage tanks, but if you had a little tank you're going to put in your car, like if you think about like the gas can you use for your lawnmower, it's red because gasoline should be stored in a red container. Diesel should be stored in a yellow container. Kerosene, which is essentially what jet fuel is, should be stored in a blue container. And if you have oil should be stored in a green container, and that's why they're colored this way. But I'm going to let this heat up. What's our capacity? Okay, so the fraction tower is full. That is actually cooling off, which I don't know why. Let's stop this here real quick. Stop feeding any cold oil into this here. I'm probably cycling some cold oil in there. Let's see if I can get this to boost here. Why are you not warming up here? Up, what did we say? Why is this cycling? True. Why am I not cycling any crap? Do I have a problem with this? I might have a problem with this. That's not good. That is not good if this is having issues here. This could be airlocked. Having all sorts of problems. The filters, the new filter system is causing problems here with this. Let's see. Press the right button to be in really good shape here. Alright, so that is having problems. Let's go ahead and turn these pumps on. I doubt we're gonna need... So I'm having issues with this. This is gonna need some filters, I think. That's a little bit frustrating, but it's good to find the bugs in this. So I'll take this offline and I'll check it and I'll see what the hell's going on with this and why this isn't working correctly. And that should help us to figure out what's going on here. But as you can see, the temperature is dropping. That's not good. And let me test something really quick. Let's go in here. Let's go ahead, override weather. Let's turn wind, rain, and fog off. Nope. Okay, so that has no effect on it. So I can't get this temperature up high enough. So I'm gonna have to work on this. That's frustrating. So see how my coolant is at 0 liters and in and out. Let me try one more thing here. Yeah. I can't purge this tank as part of the problem. So I'll have to work on this off screen and hopefully get that fixed. But a little bit disappointing that can't get this to work right. Let me get one more screenshot and then, but we got the truck up and running. What I'll do is I'll spawn this back when we're ready to actually, when it's fixed. Let me try something. This isn't going to cost me anything, so let me do it. Let me try something while I'm here. I might be able to fix this here. All right, let me try something. So I think what's happened is it's getting airlocked. Let me do this. Okay. I'll do this next episode. So I'll work on this off screen. I need to fix this. This is having an issue where it's not distilling properly. I might make a separate distilling system. I don't know, man. A little bit frustrated with this. It should be working, but there are some issues. So I might just power through this and work on a different heating system or something. So I'll do that off screen, and I'll see you guys in the next one.